Hello, my name is Mitch Waite. Welcome to this third in a 4-program series about painting with acrylics. In the previous 2 programs, the first one we talked about composition. In the second one we talked about drawing skills, that's proportion and perspective, and now we're going to talk about tone, that's working with light and dark. And I've chosen for this a portrait. The thing about a portrait picture, and especially what we're doing today, it's not about how accurately we're going to get any of these details. What actually makes it look like the subject is the proportion of each form, and the forms are made up of light and dark. So a nose is not a triangle there, it's a strip of light there and a triangle of dark there. And the same with every single other aspect of the face. I've placed the picture next to my canvas here. Well, in fact, I'm not using canvas. To keep things nice and easy, I've just primed a piece of paper here with an acrylic ground, and I've used a warm grey, which is a middle tone. So I can add dark and light to this, and we'll see a very quick result of the tonal values. First, of course, I need to get a sketch on. So I'm going to just take a little bit of white and burnt sienna on my palette, like that, with plenty of water. The acrylics I'm using are actually interactive, and you'll see why I've chosen them in a few minutes, because they can stay workable much longer than other acrylics. In fact, they can stay workable just about as long as you want, just simply by rehydrating them, and I'll show you that as we go along. So first of all, taking the composition, we need to just see the size of the main forms here. So we take the top of the picture up here, the side down here and the side down here, and we're simply looking at proportion. And if you've seen the previous program about that, you'll know that we're measuring height against width to make sure that they correspond, and it's near enough already like that. So that's good enough for that. Then in a portrait, it's quite good actually to get the eye level in, usually around halfway down, but don't take that as a given. You must measure it. I reckon it'll be about there. If you place this eye actually is right up against the edge there, that will leave the nose about there and the mouth about there. The hairline will be about there. So I'm just sort of laying it out. And when you first lay out a portrait like that, what you're actually doing is just making sure you're placing it at the size you want and the position you want on your canvas. Now we move into working with light and dark. It doesn't really matter where you start. There's 3 or 4 basic areas really. We've got the background, light and dark on the face, and light and dark on the shirt here. I may as well just start with the background. It's as good a place as any. So I'll take a little bit of this burnt umber and the ultramarine and just use that to create a nice dark background like this. Maybe let's throw in a little bit of light sienna there just to soften it. What we're aiming to do here obviously is to reveal, we're working really in negative space, we just want to reveal the shape of the head. Next thing is to work in with the skin tone, and that's a little bit warmer, so I take some burnt sienna from here. It's quite dark, so we'll just mix it into that mixture I already had on there, like that, and work down with these dark tones. So starting with the nose. Now this is usually the darkest area. That line there is very often the darkest area of the face, and just coming into the eye socket here, about there. Because in fact down here we've got reflected light which lightens it. So the dark side of the face, all these tones are not uniform. It starts from quite dark here and then gets lighter as it goes across over to here. So let's just put in that shadow of the nose. Let's put in a shadow of this eye and on the forehead, all the way down to there. Now what's going on in my mind at the moment as I do this is not, is this a likeness, but I'm just looking at shapes. In fact, I really don't even think it's a portrait. In my mind, I've not got a portrait fixed in my mind as something I'm trying to do. I'm just really trying to take these proportions across. And you're going to see I'm not paying much attention to them, to be quite honest, because I'm going to show you how to move them about. That is really the process of painting, is moving these proportions around rather than drawing them intricately and filling them in. The more you get used to being able to just push them around, the more confident you'll feel and the more free you'll be. The more confident and free you are, the easier it is to do this. So there you can see I've just pushed a whole load down there. None of them are exactly in the right position. We'll add a little bit more blue into that mixture there to go into the hairline here to establish that dark, and then come down here like this, and the same in the shirt. I want the same sort of darkness, so down here quite dark like that. Having got this first layer of light and dark, in fact I haven't put the light, but just the ground that we had on the paper beforehand is enough there. We can start to see the effect of 3 tones. That's the light, medium and dark. And those are, now we're going to start to push those around, and I want to keep them very, very alive. I don't want any of this to dry on me, so I'm going to keep adding more and more paint, and I'm going to spray it with the mist spray, which in this particular acrylic, which is the interactive, it will rehydrate the paint even when it feels like it's dry, because what happens, the paint starts to dry and feels touch dry, but in fact underneath it's really is quite moist. It can be ready to be, it'll just rehydrate, because normal paint skins over and then you can't rehydrate them, but this will actually rehydrate and come back to life. So I'll show you a little bit more of that when we've got some more paint on. Let's just get this a little bit more in here. I'm just pushing that in, so I'm working with this light area, pushing that in there. I'm going to establish that eye there and that eye there. Establish that a little bit darker there. Now we're looking at the distance from the tip of the nose to the edge of the face here. I'm just going to create a little bit of light here on my brush using the burnt sienna and the white, like that. And we'll put that down for that light on the nose, put the light in there, and put the light on that cheek, coming over underneath there, on the top bottom lip, and then down onto the chin, and then on the neck there, down to there like that. On this cheek about there. Although I'm talking about the anatomy of a face here, I'm talking about noses and cheeks and things like that, actually all I'm really looking at are shapes. So I'm just copying the shapes across. Much easier with a photograph, of course. If you're new to painting portraits, quite a good idea to start with just a photograph. But of course, pretty soon after that, you want to be trying to get onto the real thing. It's not necessarily exactly the same proportions yet, and that's what we're going to need to work on. But first we fill in the rest of the picture. So I'm going to come down, add a little bit of light blue onto the shirt. I've got some cobalt blue here, just mix that into that grey area I've already got, and that just gives us a little bit of that sort of blue. I don't have a formula for colour mixing. I look at my palette, see what it needs. Usually I've got a grey area in the middle of the palette which I'm just constantly remixing into, and you'll see that on the next program, which is going to be all about colour. For now I'm just really concentrating on light and dark. So there we've got that effect of the light part of the shirt. Let's put a little bit of that greyness for the light up here, because that in a way is important to tell me the height, because at the moment I've got a slightly ambiguous height there with it. Bring that down like that. And I'll take this light up here. Feeling, just starting to feel a little bit tacky there, and it's even drying. You see, look there, that is completely dry. Take the just water, just spray that on there so it's just like a fine mist,